Sorry about that. Hey, now it's Brace for Impact, and I'm your host, Mike Gilbert, and I'm going solo on that ass, but it's still the same. We're talking Impact Wrestling. We got a lot to talk about with Impact. But before we get there, I just want to give you guys a quick programming note. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this show next week. I'm not. It's not a no. I just don't know. So I'm going to be traveling. To Massachusetts for work. I will have my computer with me, um, and I'm going to try to make it happen. I just don't know what it's going to look like. I have a very busy schedule. So I'm going to Massachusetts for a work trip. I leave early in the week, and then I'll be there through till next week. I will be right back here. Um, for all the stuff the following week, but I will do my very best to make sure that I get something out there for you guys. So just keep that in mind. I'm not guaranteeing I'll be back with a Brace for Impact next week, but I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that I do get a Brace for Impact going for everybody right here next week on the Patreon. And I'm really glad and I'm really happy that you guys are joining us, and very thankful that you guys are joining us here on Patreon. We're building something really cool here, man, and I really appreciate everybody being here for the ride. The hardworking people, the hardworking men and women, everybody that's putting down their $5 a month. It really means a lot to me. So I will do everything I can to make sure that I get a Brace for Impact out for you next week. With that said, JD will have a special guest host for the Mike and JD show. I'm gonna let him announce that he picked the guest host, but it's somebody that you're all very familiar with. So we're pretty excited about that too. So man, as far as Impact goes, we got a lot to talk about. So Impact, they every time there is a mass WWE release, it always affects Impact because Impact typically, I don't want to say, yeah, they reap the benefits of it. If you think about it, back in 2020, whenever the first big, modern mass release of WWE, when they were trying to get under a certain budget, they released so many people. Well, a lot of them went to Impact, more so than went to AEW. Talking Good Brothers, Brian Myers, Heath, Eric Young, Mickey James showed up. There was a ton of people that showed up in Impact, and a lot of those people are still there. Heath, Eric Young came in. He went back to WWE. He came right back. Mickey James is still around. Good Brothers are back in WWE. Well, for now, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, a lot of those folks came to Impact, and then as every round of release came, Impact typically would try to utilize one or two of those people. We saw recently they picked up Samurai Del Sol and Leo Rush, who were part of some of those roster cuts. They've been in and out of Impact lately. So I think that it is very reasonable and very possible for us to expect at least one or two of those people to come into Impact. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the list and just give you my thoughts on if Impact has a shot, or if Impact should even take a shot. So Mustafa Ali was the first one. He's a very talented guy. He's from Chicago. Impact ran 6 events in Chicago this year, but so did, I think, AEW probably ran about the same. So if I were a betting man, I would bet that Ali heads to AEW. Brian Danielson happens to be a huge fan of his, and I know he's got his supporters there in AEW. And he is what they would call an internet darling. A lot of people really got behind him while he was in WWE, especially because he kind of went against the grain and publicly asked for his release when a lot of people don't do that. And he was adamant, so adamant that they kept his ass and got him to fall back in line, which he ended up doing. He did fall back in line, and he's been kind of a good soldier since then. Sorry, swig of water for the working man. So, yeah, I could see him going to AEW, but if AEW doesn't take a shot on him, Ali is definitely a guy that Impact should kick the tires on. They should absolutely check into him. Talented guy, people like him. He seems to be a hard worker, and most importantly, he would be a great fit in that X division, and would give the company. Because he has such a positive fan base around him, it would bring some positivity to the company, which they already have a lot of, but you can never have too much of it. So, Ali, I think he's going to AEW, but if not, I think Impact should really take a shot on him. Okay. Next up is Dolph Ziggler. I don't think Impact's going to go for him, and I don't think AEW will either. That's just a hunch. JD brought up last night on the Mike and JD show that he could absolutely see the Young Bucks versus the Ziggler brothers or the Nemeth twins or whatever the hell they're going to be called if Dolph ever goes there, because Ryan Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler's brother. Dolph, his name is Nick Nemeth. So Ryan Nemeth, his brother, the Hollywood Hunk, is already in AEW. So there is that link. And so it could absolutely happen. I just think this guy is out of gas. He's not out of shape or anything. I just think that he just doesn't have like this great passion for it. He seemed to be content with collecting them WWE mailbox checks. He was a guy that time and time again people said, for the last 10 years said, hey man, you should really try your hand outside of the WWE, and he just never was willing to take that chance on himself. And now he's in his mid 40s, and it's going to be a bit more difficult. So I just don't know that he's interested. I just get the feeling he's probably going to be working the 12 a.m. shift at the Comedy Store Monday through Thursday. Like I just see him doing that. Like he fancies himself a stand-up comedian. I'm not sure he's ever told a funny joke, but that seems to be his path to me. That's what I think. I could be completely wrong. Should Impact take a flyer on him? I don't know that you'll get your return on investment. He's probably going to ask for a lot of money, and I just don't see the guy as a draw. I really don't. And I'm happy to be wrong about that, but I just don't know. I just don't see it. And maybe he can prove me wrong. I'd happily be wrong about that. I don't know. Nothing about Dolph Ziggler interests me, to be quite honest. So take that for what it's worth. I think I think it's done. I think he's toast, basically. Next up is Tennille Dashwood, aka Emma in WWE, Tennille Dashwood everywhere else. She was in Impact. She's a Lance Storm trainee. She's a former tag team champion in Impact. I don't think she ever won the Knockouts title, but she won the tag team title. I was never impressed by her run in Impact, but I do know that people there like her. It just seemed like when she was in Impact, she would much rather be doing anything else other than wrestling when she was there. The expression on her face as she was working and as she was doing her promos just seemed to be just completely disinterested. Like this was just her job, and that's the only reason why she's doing it. She cannot wait to get back onto Instagram and travel and take pictures. That was my impression of her the entire time she was in Impact. But she's got her fans. I can't deny that. Should Impact go for her? I would pass personally because I just don't find her to be all that interesting either. I could see them wanting to bring her back in, probably on a short-term deal. I could see her working some matches here. Absolutely. But her boyfriend, or I don't know if they're fiance, if they're married or what, but Riddick Moss, now that's a guy that they could get behind 100%. Impact today should be calling that. Like they should already have the messages out to Riddick Moss. Say, hey, Riddick Moss, do you want to be the next Steve Macklin? Do you want to be the next Drew? Do you want to be the next Cody, Matt Cardona? Do you want to be the next W. Morrissey? Do you want to rebuild your career? Do you want to fight for it? Do you want to earn it? Do you want to rebuild your name? Do you want to do something else besides be a formerly known as WWE guy? Reinvent yourself, make a name for yourself, get over, get the work in. We got you. And this is a guy that I think is very talented. He's got physical gifts. He's humongous. He's jacked. He's got charisma. I don't know that he can cut a promo, but he was mostly a joke in WWE. They tried some starts and stops with him, but they never got behind him. And he seems like the type of guy that really wants it. He's got the passion for it. So if I'm Impact, I'm calling this guy yesterday. I think they should bring him in. I think they will bring him in. I think they should make him out of this entire list. I think that this guy would be the priority because Mustafa Ali is very likely headed towards AEW. And if not, maybe you take a flyer on him, maybe you work some matches with him, or you let him suffer a little bit, go out there, work the indie scene. And as his independent rate comes down a little bit, then you bring him in. Riddick Moss, you go right away. You bring him in hard to kill in Las Vegas. And if you want to bring him in with Emma by his side or Tennille Dashwood as like his kind of manager sidekick type of deal, you bring them in as a couple, I'm in. Count me in. They could feud with the Edwards family. They could feud with, Frankie and Tracy. Actually, I don't think Tracy's going to be wrestling anymore. But I think there's money to be made there with them as a unit, or just Riddick Moss by himself. I see something in that guy. Every time I've seen him, he just popped off the screen to me, and I was like, man, what don't they see? He seems like to be the prototype of what the WWE would like, um, but they just haven't really gotten behind the guy. And they gave him, he was called Madcap for a while. He was like Baron Corbin's sidekick. I'm just like, what are you guys thinking? Like, this could be a guy for you, not the top guy, but a guy, right? So Impact. Listen to me, Impact. Listen to me, Impact fans. Let's get behind Riddick Moss. Let's bring him to Impact. I think they could do something with this guy. So 100% Riddick Moss. Next up on the list is Rick Boogs. He was the guitar player for Shinsuke Nakamura. That's about all I know. I don't know much else of him. So this is what Fightful said about him. His real name is Eric Bugenhagen. Made his debut for the company in 2017 on NXT. In 2021, he moved to the SmackDown where he was with Shinsuke. Yeah. And he last wrestled for WWE at SummerSlam, and he competed in the Slim Jim Battle Royale. I watched SummerSlam. I don't remember that ever happening. I remember there was a Battle Royale. I don't remember him being in it, so he must have not done anything important. A swig of water for the working man. So, yeah, Rick Boogs. I don't know. Most of these people, and I mentioned this with Ali, most of these people, I wouldn't even, like, if they text Joe, I wouldn't even text him back. Just like, and it's nothing against them. I'm sure they're all fine people. They utilize their left and right turn indicators. I'm sure they're good people, talented people, creative people, very athletic. Most of them are very good shape. I would make them go and see what they got on the indies. Make them go work Prestige and PWG and AAW and up there in the Defy, all those indies. Let's make them see what they can do on the indie scene. Warrior Wrestling. Do that. See if they're willing to do what it takes to get themselves over on those scenes. And then after 6 months to a year of proving that they want this life, that they still have it, that they got that hunger for it, then you start bringing them in. I think that if you don't, you're going to weed out all the tomato cans real quick. You're going to weed them out. The people that don't want it, or they're going to, within a couple of months, they're done. They're going to be on to the next thing, and I think I see that in Boogs, honestly. And so, but if he does, he goes out there and proves himself, then that's when you bring him in. So I'm going to hard pass on Boogs for right now, unless he proves himself worthy in about a year. Aaliyah been with NXT for a decade. She got a couple main roster spots. She had 75 matches in 10 years. She never got any better. I think it's time for her to find another job, right? I think she needs to go find something else to do for a living. Congrats on your 10 years with WWE. You got a lot of mailbox money during that time. Good job. Next, Elias Sampson, aka Ezekiel, very talented guy. He is the type of guy, Fandango, Santino, Heath, those types. I could see Impact being interested in. I personally would not bring this guy in because he is definitely going to be a guy that comes in and he wants to do a version of his WWE gimmick that peaked 5 years ago. And they're going to want to bring that in and then do a knockoff version of what he did in WWE. I could see them wanting that. I'm just cautioning them to do the hard pass on that deal. It is not necessary. If he wants to go reinvent himself, like I said about Boogs, if he wants to go reinvent himself, go for it. But unless he does that, no, not interested. Absolutely do not. AJ Top Dollar Francis. No. They were talking to him at one point before he went back to WWE. Look, he's a former football player. He's a rapper. He's got charisma. He is like just a couple steps above Tyrus in the ring. He's just kind of real big, tad overweight, He's got bad knees from his years playing football. He's not the guy he was 5 years ago, and he wasn't much 5 years ago. So not at all interested in him. And just a hard pass altogether. Now Shelton Benjamin's interesting. A lot of people are saying that, he would be a good fit for the BCC in AEW. I think that's just people being very nice because they really like Shelton. I happen to be one of those people too. I don't know how he would fit in Impact. I could see him coming in as a special attraction, kind of like what Charlie Haas did a couple years ago, and having a couple matches here and there. But I just don't see him fitting what Impact does, because Impact is very character actor based. You see the more he can do some of that stuff, but I think when they tried to do comedy with him in WWE, it didn't really work as well. If Impact wants to do kind of a main event level faction with one of their heels and he comes in as kind of a henchman, I could see him doing that and just having really good matches. But they have enough guys that are having really good matches. I think we talked about this last night on the Mike and JD show. I think where Shelton fits in best is going back to Noah, doing an N1, having matches with Go Shiozaki, Jake Lee, Katsuhiko Nakajima, all those guys can know. I could see that, and then maybe here and there doing some shots for Impact, doing some shots for MLW, doing a shot for NWA. I could just see him kind of touring around because he's one of those guys that really loves the business. When he left WWE a long time ago, him and Haas and Benjamin, he did that basically. He did the Indies, he did Ring of Honor, he did Noah, he worked his ass off, and then he worked his way back into WWE, and then they still saw him as like that underneath mid-card talent that he was when he left, and he never really got above that ceiling. Quincy Elliott, this guy's toast. I'm not interested. He got himself in trouble on Twitter. He's kind of a toxic name. Not interested in this cat whatsoever. He was trying to be kind of a meme wrestler. Yeah, got hard pass. I'll be honest. Bryson Montana, never heard of this person. I'm sure they're a fine person though, but they were NXT level up. So I've never seen that show. I'm never going to watch that show. Hope the best for you there, Bryson. Whoever you are, I best of luck in your future endeavors. Dana Brooke, no. She's never had it. She's never had it. I've seen her dozens and dozens of her matches, and I don't remember ever a good one. And they really tried pushing her up and down, up and down. She's been there for 10 years. She's been in the main roster since 2016. And I just don't see it. She just never had it. And it was very nice of WWE to keep her on the roster for as long as they did. It was very charitable for them to do that. She's a fitness model. She could go do that. I think there's good money doing that. In fact, she's probably already making a lot of money doing that. Mace is interesting. He was a member of Retribution. He's a big guy. I think they actually tried him out on the commentary team, and he wasn't like the greatest, but the fact that they threw him in there and he had no experience and he did okay, it tells you a lot about his character. And his tag team partner, Mansoor, Impact, I don't see it right away, but if I'm Impact, I'm interested in these two guys. They're hard workers. They don't take themselves too seriously. They can do characters. I don't know about their in-ring work. I do know that Mansoor has a little bit of talent. Mace has some physical gifts. They're young guys. I think that you take a look at them. Why not? These are the type of guys that Impact should really be giving a shot to. That doesn't mean sign them to like a 5-year deal or anything like that. Just, see what they got. Try them out. Maybe not right away, maybe not at the 3-month mark, but if they decide to go out there and do a couple indie dates together and people respond well to them, why not bring them in for a couple shots and then give them a chance? I happen to think these guys could be something. These are talented guys. They're job WWE talent, and Impact loves those guys, but they typically bring in job Impact or job WWE talent that don't really have a huge upside. And I just see these guys having an upside. Because, they brought in Brian Myers and Heath. There's no upside there. They are what they are at this point. you're not really going to do anything new with them. They were already close to 40, and they had, spent their entire existence in WWE losing matches. So by the time they get to Impact, that's all they're ever going to be. And that's exactly what they've done. They've just been the same version of who they were, just under like slightly different names. Mason Mansoor, I see some versatility there. I do. And I don't think that they were that overexposed on television to where, like, if you bring them in, maybe you could do something with them. Absolutely. Shanky, I'll be honest, I'm not really that familiar with him, so I won't really comment one way or the other. But Dabakato, that guy's a giant. You know me, I love the giants, I love the bigs. Um, he's also, I believe he's from India, and so Impact loves their Indian talent. Um, I think that he could be a guy that maybe you kick the tires on eventually. I just don't see them bringing him in right away. If he wants that, if he wants the life, he's another guy that if he really wants to be a pro wrestler, let's see him go out there and work some shots elsewhere to see if he's taking his life seriously. If he is, give him a shot. He could be valuable, I think. Ulissa Leon, I am not familiar with her. Not going to comment. Same with Daniel MacArthur. Never heard of this person. Kevin Ventura Cortez. Yep, same. Alexis Gray. Never heard of her. Brooklyn Barlow. Yep, never heard of her. Ika Minjiro. He was an All Japan guy. Jacket time dude. Got some charisma. If he wants to stay in the States, maybe you bring him in for some Ultimate X's here and there. But other than that, I'm not really seeing too much. He was Kushida's tag team partner because she is very friendly with Impact. There is that connection there. Could I see them doing something with him eventually? I could. Not signing here, not becoming a star here, nothing like that. But I could see them wanting to work with that guy. But in conclusion to the WWE talent release situation and where they fit in with Impact, as far as I'm concerned, the only one on the list that they should absolutely go after right away is Riddick Moss. And if it means bringing in Emma too, bring Tennille Dashwood, bring old Tennille back. If it means that you can get your hands on Riddick Moss, because I do think that guy's got something. Everybody else, let them suffer. Let them go prove themselves on the indies. Let them go see what they got if they're going to take this job seriously. And if they don't, then you're able to, then you're not missing out on anything anyway. But yeah, so, tough day for the WWE team over there, but it's part of what they do. Look, they just merged with Endeavor. They merged with UFC under the Endeavor banner. They created TKO, and whenever there's mergers and acquisitions, people lose their jobs because they have to get loans and yada yada yada. They got debts to pay, so they're just trying to get the overhead down, and that's just the cost of doing business like that. So it sucks for them, but it is what it is. Hopefully, a lot of those people look at the template that Matt Cardona put out there, that Steve Macklin put out there, that W. Morrissey, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, all those people that I mentioned before. Hopefully they do that and they go out there and prove themselves. And I'm going to tell you this right now. And this is my message to them. None of them are listening, but this is my message to them. Or if you're listening, this is my message to you. Be phenomenal or be forgotten. Okay? Be the best that you can be at what it is you're supposed to be doing. Whatever your calling in life is. It's from the book of Ecclesiastes, right? Whatever your hands find you, just do it well. Do it the best that you can, right? Make sure that you do it well. So if they're going to go out there and they're going to bust ass and they're going to get after it and they're going to recreate themselves and rejuvenate their career, I want to see it. Don't let anybody put a ceiling on you. Nobody gets to do that to you. Right? Don't let me do it. Don't let any podcaster do it. Don't let any wrestling profession do it. Nobody gets to put a ceiling on you. The only person that does that to you is you. So if you're going to put the ceiling on yourself and say, my name is half of what I was in WWE, and my name is formerly known as my WWE name, you just put the ceiling on yourself. No way, Jose. Big con, right? Dango. Like, you did that to you, and you're never going to get past it. But if you want to scrap what you were before and recreate yourself in a new image, like Steve Macklin did, there's a future for you in professional wrestling. You can make money doing that. So I hope that they get after it. I hope that they're willing to do that. But time will tell. Most of them won't. I got to be honest. I've seen this time and time again. Most of them said you haven't seen the best of me yet. Yes, we have, and it's unfortunate, but I hope that I'm wrong. That was a tough subject, but we got to cover it. Also in the Impact world, I'm saying it right now. Co-main event to Mike Gilbert is for of Bound for Glory is Will Ospreay taking on Speedball Mike Bailey. We've been saying it here for weeks that was very likely going to be the match. Now that wasn't a leaked behind the scenes kind of scoop deal. That was just like reading the tea leaves, but that was just me paying attention to what the company does and the people that are in the promotion and who would match up well against Ospreay. And somebody that Ospreay could beat on his way out of New Japan, right? Somebody that he could beat, because we all know that he's going to AEW, so you're never going to get that win back. You have to just be able to accept that the best wrestler in the world, in my opinion, is coming to your promotion. He's going to beat one of your guys. Well, you have him beat Speedball, and you do it in a great match. It's not designed to be anything more than that. They're going to try to get a 5-star match, and they're going to put some shine on Speedball in defeat, and then Will Ospreay is going to get the dub, and he's going to move on, and they're going to see him at Turning Point in the UK. And I think that's great. Honestly, I would like to see him face Josh Alexander because he very much is going to AEW. I don't think there's any doubt about it at this point. So we may never get that match because Josh is an Impact lifer. Josh ain't going anywhere. He's like neighbors with Scott D'Amore. They're like best friends. They're not going anywhere. So as long as he doesn't screw up, he's got a job for life in this promotion. So I just don't think we'll ever get to see that match. So now's the time to do it. And I hope they pull it off in the UK. I really do. And maybe do a draw or something like that, right? Because I don't think you want Josh taking L's to anybody. So maybe they do basically a time limit draw, and I think that would be appropriate. I think AEW has utilized the time limit draw pretty well, and I think that it's time for Impact to do something similar. Utilize the time limit draw. Get me Will Ospreay versus Josh Alexander and do it in a time limit draw, and I think you got money on your hands. I think that would be fantastic. Also, the main event has been announced, which no surprise to anybody. It's Alex Shelley versus Josh Alexander for the World Heavyweight title. Excuse me. That's about as good a 1-2 punch, main and co-main, that you're ever going to see in Impact Wrestling. And I think that those two matches will challenge any other 2-match combo for that any other company is going to put on right now. Say what you want about star power in the match, but you want to just talk about strictly match quality and importance to the promotion. Like, these two matches are going to be huge for this promotion because, as we all know, they're gearing up for something big in 2024. And this is going to be one of the lasting impressions that people have before Impact heads overseas and does kind of like smaller budget production type stuff leading into Hard to Kill in Las Vegas in January. So they're going to be taking some steps back. So this was going to be like the last big time thing that we're going to see for the rest of the year. And I think that they're going to go all out in these two matches. We might have, dual contenders for best match of the year for Impact Wrestling with these two matches. Alex Shelley in a main event spot Bound for Glory with Josh Alexander. I think both guys are going to come hungry. They're going to want to kill it. And for my money, and I'm saying it now, and I think I said it last week too, I think that Shelley should keep the title. I don't think he will, but I think that he should keep the title. But more on that whenever, as we get closer to Bound for Glory and I do my Bound for Glory preview. But that's really it for Impact News. I think they had the ratings come out as like 107 or something like that for last week. We have not gotten the ratings for last night. I don't know that we'll get them until the weekend's over. It's going to be tough going up against football. Last night the 49ers played, and so really all of America, if you really do love your country, you would have been watching that game because America's team, the San Francisco 49ers, were playing, and they put a beat down on the New York Football Giants. Really a pathetic excuse for a franchise. The Giants are honestly, like, there was still time left on the clock, and I just came in and podcasted anyway because I just don't have any respect for the Giants or the NFC East in general. The Eagles, the Cowboys, the Commies. I don't care about any of those stupid teams. So I knew that Brock Purdy, future Hall of Famer, was going to put a beat down on them, and he went for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns on those idiots. So yeah, I think that last night's rating is probably going to be a bit tough, but that's okay. Look, Impact yeah, ratings do matter, do count, but subscriptions matter, pay-per-views matter, live events matter, and all those numbers are up. So Impact is in a really good spot. But yeah, let's get to Impact 1000 Part 2. It's not episode 1001. Don't be confused by that, although I have made that joke a few times. It opened up with the Ultimate X match. Alan Angels defeating Zach Wentz, Rich Swann, Mike Bailey, Samurai Del Sol, the former Kalisto, and Ace Austin. This was a fun way to open the show. I gotta be honest though, I do have a bit of Ultimate X fatigue. I think this might be the fourth one this year. And really, Impact loves this match, and I think they had to have it on Impact 1000. And I think you have to have it on Slammiversary. So you didn't need to have it any other time. So they knew this date was coming. They knew Slammiversary was coming. I think those should have been the only two Ultimate X matches. I don't think you needed the one at the Multiverse. And I think they had the women's one earlier this year. I could be misremembering that. So maybe Dobby the Brain Heenan or Gerard or one of the listeners will correct me on that. But I want to say this was the fourth one this year, and that's a bit too much. So and I think this might have been like of the four, I would probably put this one number 4, but that's a high bar because those matches are always really entertaining. It's just a fun sprint to open the show. The one issue I did have with it is I just felt like it was a bit weird for Speedball to be hanging up on that cable for as long as he did. Like he was, his body was facing away from the X and he was scooting down, and then he just stayed right in the middle. Like he was worried he was going to fall, but every time anybody scoots to the X, their butt is always towards the X, and that's how they scoot. So he wasn't doing anything different than anybody else. And then when somebody came to get the X, all of a sudden he was fine again. He starts kicking the shit out of them. So for whatever reason, like I don't think commentary explained it very well. I'm watching this thing, and this dude's just up there for 10 minutes. I'm just like, bro, why is he still up there? Just get down, idiot. So either he's just a big stupid dummy or somebody effed something up. Maybe he did. I don't know. But other than that, I thought it was really, really fun sprint. And I like that Alan Angels got the dub here. Honestly, whenever this thing was booked, I was like, I kind of pinpointed Samurai Del Sol because like maybe they're going to try to heat this guy up heading into Chicago, give him some steam. And he's probably a per date guy, but I thought that's who they would go with when I saw the match announced. I was pleasantly surprised that they're going to get behind one of their guys in Alan Angels. He takes a lot of L's. But maybe this could be the start of something for him. I thought he cut a pretty good promo afterwards, and he said he's going to challenge Chris Sabin next week, where he will lose. At least he better lose, because I don't want to see Sabin lose this title right now. And then we go to Jake Something defeating Dirty Dango, Chase Stevens of the Naturals. I don't know why they keep bringing this guy back in. He was a nobody when he was at Impact before. Like, I know there's like a romanticism with the Naturals. They weren't around that long. They had a couple of good matches, but they were not that big of a deal in TNA. But he must have friends in the company because they keep bringing the guy back. What was cool about this is they brought back the Fox Box, and I did talk about that here last week when I did my brief history of Impact Wrestling TV show. How I really like the Fox Box. And so I was surprised to see that they brought that back. I really enjoyed it. Jake Something beat his ass. Too easy. Then they go to Macklin. He cuts a promo calling out Rhino for interfering on Feast or Fired. Rhino surprised him by hitting Agora on Macklin backstage. So that was pretty cool. And then Rhino then tells Santino that he got what he deserves. I don't think I did enough. He tried to end my career. I don't give an F what happens to him because whatever happens to him next is on him. So maybe that's the Bound for Glory match. I was thinking we're going to get Bully Ray versus Macklin, but who knows what Bully Ray's status is now. So next we go to Eric Young. He's getting ready to face Kenny King. Then there's an immediate disqualification, which brings out Shark Boy. And Shark Boy, who was the assistant director of Authority, then books a match between Eric Young and Scott D'Amore against Kenny King and Sheldon Jean Is Not My Lover. And what's hilarious about that is Scott D'Amore is the president of the company, and somehow Shark Boy has power to put him in a match. That's, kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. So now we got Team Canada versus Kenny King and Sheldon Jean, and then all of a sudden the design come out and they DQ it. And Shark Boy then comes back out, and then he makes Team Canada and America's Most Wanted, James Storm and Chris Harris. They defeated Sheldon Jean, Kenny King, and The Design. I enjoyed this. I'm a sucker for America's Most Wanted. I'm a big sucker for James Storm. He looked great. The guy's in great shape. Still got great tan. His moves are great. His work is great. He still can cut a great promo. The fact that he's not signed to this promotion pisses me off at this point. You're leaving money on the table. James Storm could absolutely continue to be a mid-level to top-level babyface in this promotion. He can open the show. He can work tag teams. He can do mid-card matches. He can be your main eventer. Whatever you need from this guy, he's got it. He is a staple here. He's a legend here. He should be in the Hall of Fame for this promotion, and he can still fucking go. And the fact that they're not bringing him in, it makes me sick. It pisses me off. I love this guy. And I've never been shy about that. So, yeah, just sign him, will you? Come on, dummies. Next, we go to a post-match promo from Team 3D from last week addressing the crowd. This looked like it was very final to me. Devon did address the back surgery and stroke that he had, but it seemed like Bully was kind of saying bye almost. So maybe he's not coming back. We'll see. I don't know if he's on the poster for Memphis. I haven't seen yet. So I'm sure I'll get corrected on that, but they're actually taping in Memphis shortly after I get off here. So we'll see if he's in Memphis tonight or not. And then Dave LaGreca hosted the Feast or Fired case reveal ceremony backstage. Number one was Crazy Steve. He got a digital media championship, and he was super creepy about it. And then we go to Moose, who just before that was saying that he wanted a world tag team title shot because that's what Bay said, and that's what Uemura said. And Brian Myers was standing behind him, so he said it too when he was clearly not meaning it, which I thought was pretty funny. He then won the world championship case, and I honestly thought that, like, if Mike was booking this thing, like, he was so fake about not getting he was so fake about wanting the tag team title shot. When he got the world title shot, he should have been over the moon happy, jumping up in celebration with Myers looking confused and disappointed. I just thought that would have made for a better moment, but he was just very subtle about it. So it still worked, but I just thought they could have done that part better. Bay then won the World Tag Team Championship briefcase, which leaves Uemura. He got fired. He is now going to be forced to leave Impact Wrestling. He's going to be in Memphis this weekend. I think they're going to do a farewell match with Josh Alexander, and they're going to do a farewell ceremony. We all saw this one coming. He was on excursion here in Impact. There was some talk out there for a while that he was an Impact wrestler. But no, he was just on excursion the entire time. He's going to be heading back to New Japan, which is good for him. He needs to get back to New Japan because the longer he stayed in Impact, they were going to have him do dumber and dumber shit. So I hope that he becomes a huge star in New Japan. And then maybe when he comes back to Impact on one of these multiverse shows, he'll get treated with some respect. But they do love him. He's a great wrestler. But I think they were wanting him to be more of a comedy guy versus, this rising star who could potentially be a world champion. They never really treated him like that. So, but I really did like this segment. I thought it worked. I thought everybody did a great job. And next we go, match of the night, easily match of the night because the other matches were more nostalgia type matches. Josh Alexander defeated Trey Miguel. I enjoyed it. There's interference from the outside from Zach Wentz. Alex Shelley came to make the save. And Josh Alexander hit the C4 spike on Trey Miguel for the dub. Trey Miguel bumped his ass off in this match. I thought he was tremendous. And then Alex Shelley confronts Alexander after the match. Alexander then proceeded to challenge Shelley for a rematch of the title Bound for Glory, which Shelley accepted. So I really thought that was a strong after-match promo. Next, we go to Mike Bailey. He's in the back with Jonathan Gresham. They said a bunch of words. I don't know what their deal is. Like they've been off and on feuding for like a year, and then nobody cares. But they're gonna have a match again. They've had so many matches, and they were all good matches, but none of them had any heat, and nobody cares. Like, who cares who wins the match? Clearly Speedball's gonna win because he's got to go face Ospreay. So, good job, Gresham, I guess. And then Skyler met with the tag champs, the Rascals, and he wanted to get his title shot, but he was interrupted by a Bullet Club. And then the Rascals fled the scene. And then in the main event, we had Trinity, Jordan, Gail Kim, Mickey James, and Awesome Kong defeating Perazzo, Savannah Evans, Giselle Shaw, Tasha Steeles, and Anna Jelena Love. This was a fun trip down memory lane to see a lot of our favorite Impact stars of the past. It was cool to see Gail Kim in there. Awesome Kong probably got the pop of the night when she finally got in the ring and she was like kicking ass. It was so cool to see her back. Man, if she could still go, it'd be so cool to have her back in this promotion. It really would. She is just tremendous. She's like next level, like character, just big time star that I think this division needs. But yeah, the baby faces got the W here. It was a fun way to end the show. Impact does have the entire matchup on their YouTube already, so if you're a big Knockouts fan, I would strongly recommend you go check it out. Overall, another fun show. I really enjoyed the Impact 1000 series. I like what they're doing here. They have a lot of momentum heading into Memphis this weekend, and hopefully that momentum carries into Bound for Glory, and we get some big match announcements coming out of the weekend and for the next few weeks. But again, just programming note, I may or may not be back next week. I am not sure what my schedule is going to look like because I will be on the road for work. So please bear with me, and I will try to keep you guys up to date if I do get a chance to record something. But if I don't, I will see you guys in a couple weeks. And until next time, mahalo.